Aggressive check by Carlo Marchand. Finishes Carolina, and D'Angelo, poor sport that he is, throws his stick after Marchand. We'll have at least 6 games in this series. The Bruins will play again at TD Garden.
Phenomenal effort by the entire roster here, protecting this 2-goal.
All right, everybody. Welcome back to episode 28 of the Fairweather Fans Podcast. I'm your host, Dan Fairweather, here with my co-host, Tyler Puska. We're here in the Doing the Most studios for now. Version 1, Version 2 is coming very, very soon. That is very exciting, as we'll talk about later in the podcast. But today's Monday, May 9th. It's 2:30 p.m., day after Game 4 of Boston Bruins, Carolina Hurricanes. Day of Game 4, Celtics Bucks. And boy, we got a lot to talk about.
Holy crap,
we got some sports to talk about. I mean, we are in the meat and potatoes of the season right now. And I'll tell you, I have never felt better. Great homestand for the Boston Bruins, which we'll talk about in 2 seconds. But, Ty, just tell me how you're doing.
I'm doing well. I wasn't doing well after those first 2 games, that's for sure.
No,
I couldn't even tell you the last time I felt that more demoralized after watching a hockey game. And then, I mean, those last 2 games at TD, I mean, holy crap. The mood, the morale, it's all high. It's all high.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, yesterday was Mother's Day. Great day to have a game down at the Garden on Mother's Day. We played the Carolina Hurricanes on Mother's Day 2 years ago and beat them, I think it was 7-1.
Oh, yeah.
7-1. We absolutely shellacked them, so that was more of the same. And it's always great. I hope you had a great Mother's Day. I hope everyone listening at home also had a great Mother's Day. It was a great day for me and my mom. We just went to the game, then went out to dinner in the North End. You know, typical Boston Mother's Day. Couldn't really ask for more. What'd you do with your mother? You know, treat her well?
My mother being my mother, she worked.
Oh, there you go.
She worked on Mother's Day.
Blue collar.
Putting food on the goddamn
Hell yeah.
table. That's why I respect her so much. Happy Mother's Day,
Happy
Mom.
Mother's Day, everybody. But this is a sports podcast.
This
Talk
is
some sports.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So, I don't think we're really going to talk that much about anything else other than the Boston Bruins and the Boston Celtics today. Those are big 2 topics. I know most people listen to this for those 2 topics, so we're going to kind of center around that. But let's just talk about it.
Let's just dive right into
The Boston Bruins going into Game 1. Shellacked by the Carolina Hurricanes in all 5 games that you met them in the or all 3 games you met them in the regular season. You got outscored, I think it was
16-1.
16-1. Scored 1 goal in 3 games. So definitely not a lot of confidence going in. And this game really just proved exactly why people felt that way. Because, man, Bruins looked real good in the first period and a half.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you. I mean, they were getting all the chances. They were dominating the pace of play. But, you know, playoffs are all about who puts the puck in the back of the net. And Carolina, with 2 quick shots.
Mm-hmm.
One tipped in by, I think it was Seth Jarvis. The other one by Nino Niederreiter go up 2-0. That was real demoralizing in the second period because going in, I was watching on my phone on a bus. And I was pissed because we were just dominating the pace of play. And it was like you were just waiting for the Bruins to kind of put one in the net. You know, that top line of DeBrusque, Marchand, and Bergeron weren't getting anything going. Their second line, same thing. And you're out shooting them massively. Ullmark is making some great saves when he had to, but it was just incredibly frustrating because he really couldn't get anything going whatsoever. But after those 2 goals, Taylor Hall snaps one on net from the high slot, and it finds its way in on Ranta. And you're like, okay. And you text me. You text me when it was 2-0. You go 2-0, worst lead in sports. And I was like, yeah, dude, it's like, dream on.
Yeah.
We're not coming back. And then they score that goal, and I'm like, okay, maybe we have a chance.
And that's all you need in the Stanley Cup playoffs is a chance.
It's a chance. So Taylor Hall gets you back in the game, but it was all Canes from that point on. It was real disappointing. Just the way they responded after that Taylor Hall goal. It's like they had no air in their tires.
No, it was just
real pathetic.
It was pretty much just more of the same from the regular season. You just couldn't get the puck in the back of the net. You're playing well, right? Cycling the puck, getting on the forecheck, just things not going in the net.
Exactly.
I feel like that's been a problem for a while now is that we outshoot the team like 50-30 and we score 1 or 2 goals. And then, I mean, just more of the same in the defensive end, too. You can't clear the net front. They got big bodies that are forechecking, and they can also cycle, too. They like their point shots, and you get a couple bounces to go your way, and that's how Game 1 pretty much wrapped up.
Right. And I mean, in that first game, Ronto was good, but he wasn't great. You had some good chances, but they weren't really incredibly high danger. You weren't getting to the spots where, it's a good percentage chance you were going to score. You were throwing pucks on that. That's why you had more shots than they did. But Ronta wasn't letting up any easy rebounds. They weren't really letting you in front of the net, especially in the slot. It's like they're just forcing you to the boards, and you have to kind of make stuff happen. And they really couldn't. But, there's a lot of guys on that team that aren't really used to that playoff experience. So it was kind of the jitters. But you were just hoping they would respond better in Game 2. Ronta goes down in the first 3 minutes, I think, off a play that many people deemed as incredibly dirty. But if you look at the perpetrator at hand, David Pastrnak, he doesn't scream to you, I'm going to run your goalie. No,
not at all.
It's not a guy you send out there to kind of do that.
He lost his balance.
Yeah, he just lost his balance. He was trying to, I feel like a part of it was trying to help Ronta to not go down as well. But he just ended up kind of making a clumsy play, grabbing onto Ronta for support, and took him down. And we didn't see him for Game 3, which kind of sucked. But that Game 2 it was just more of the same, dominating the pace of play when you could, but their scoring chances, they converted on him.
Mm-hmm.
Olmark was good when he had to be, but you really just needed your goalie to make a save, and you kind of needed something to give, kind of like the spark behind this team after Game 2, because, the way that they played, they just got dominated on the boards, which is where there was the only place that Carolina was really giving them any space to play.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can't win there, you really couldn't win anywhere. And then just, bad defense in front of your net, breakdowns, lazy passes. You weren't keeping your stick on the ice. They were making too many cross-ice passes way too easily. You couldn't get into the offensive zone. Your power play was abysmal. Really nothing went right.
No, it was just like, what am I watching right now? This is not the Bruins team that I saw in the regular season.
Yeah.
This even like against Carolina when they didn't play good, they just looked like a shell of themselves, really.
Yeah.
And just like you said, more of the same. Couldn't clear the net front. Lost a lot of one-on-one battles on the boards, and that's where you win hockey games, especially in the playoffs. You have to win on the walls, and you have to keep possession. And I feel like we were making a lot of no-look passes, a lot of stupid passes. Weren't really playing our style of hockey, and you couldn't get the timely save when you needed it. It was just kind of like a trickle effect, if you will.
Right, and then so they go up 4-1 in that third period, about 10 minutes left, and then Bruce Cassidy decides he's seen enough of Jake DeBrusk on the first line.
Mm-hmm.
He's back, the perfection line. Some call it. I don't like to call it that.
I hate that name.
Because it's not perfect. It sets a lot of expectations here. You got to meet. But yeah, Bergeron, Marsh, and Pastrnak back together with 10 minutes left in that third period, and dare I say it, that was the best hockey they had played the whole entire series.
Oh, yeah, it was.
Bergeron goes and he scores 2 goals to make it 5-3. Yeah, 5-3.
Mm-hmm.
And narrows down that lead. No, I think it was he made it 4-2.
No, I thought it was 3-2, and then Teravainen had that 2-on-1 absolute snipe show on Olmark.
It was a two-goal differential after. Bergeron scored those 2 goals, which you like to see. Obviously, he wasn't scoring a lot to end the regular season. He had that hat trick against Buffalo, but that's really a team that you didn't really need to beat. They didn't really have the intensity. So coming to the playoffs, Bergeron was a question mark as to if he was going to be able to perform at the level that everyone needed him to. And him scoring 2 goals, having 3 points in that game was instrumental. And even though they lost, that last 10 minutes of Game 3 was a building block for how you wanted to play going into Game 3 at TD Garden.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. Just in that situation, you just want to play your best hockey down the stretch. You're not looking to do too much. You just want to do the little things right, and you don't want to make any stupid mistakes that are going to carry over. And you just kind of bite the bullet. Okay, we're down 2-0, and like I had said before, I couldn't tell you the last time I was that demoralized and just so out of juice from just watching this team play. And I think that was the first time we went down 2-0 since the Stanley Cup Finals in Vancouver.
That's why it took so long for us to feel that way after a playoff game, because we've never been in that position before. So obviously it sucked because you're down 0-2. Your team really did nothing right in either of the games.
Carolina looks like the far superior team,
purely
like
dominated.
they did in the regular
Bruins
season.
are playing incredibly undisciplined, taking way too many penalties. Olmark wasn't really making all the outstanding saves they needed to, so you knew that going into this, your fourth liners weren't really doing what fourth liners were supposed to do. So going into this Game 3 in TD Garden, you had to win both.
Yep.
Because if you don't, then you're down 3-1.
Going back into Carolina,
the series is over in 5. If
Yep.
you even split. So who knows? You could have gotten swept in 4, which at that point was really not a.
It's not out of the cards.
Yeah, that was an unrealistic expectation. So going into that, you knew that something seriously big had to change. And Bruce Cassidy was like, "Fuck it, I'm pulling out my wild cards."
Yep.
Pulled up Chris Wagner from the AHL, put in Jeremy Swayman in net, who had looked really bad the last quarter of the season, and then kept that perfection line intact. And he was like, "Screw it, we're going in guns a-blazing." And I would like to stop talking. That's kind of where we end the games 1 and 2 talk, because all the heat and all the conversation right now is on this homestand in Boston.
Mm-hmm.
So going into that game 3, what were your expectations?
You wanted to get off to a good start, and I feel like the people that were in the building, I was there, and you were there, right?
I was there, yeah.
So we were both there, and I mean, I kind of felt like that it was the fans' job to try and get this team in the game, because they didn't really have anything to, I guess, go forward with into game 3, and we needed to build some momentum. And I wasn't really looking for them to, go and put up, 4 goals and play lights out. I just wanted to see a better effort from all 4 lines and the 3 D pairs, and really focus on winning those one-on-one battles along the half wall that you'd been losing in games 1 and 2.
Right, so they go into that game 3, and, I mean, the fans, I would hate to say it, but I feel like you kind of felt the sense of defeat. They weren't very hopeful. They weren't the passionate, loud Boston fans that you're used to seeing in the playoffs, especially the first round for the first home game. And they weren't really bringing it, and I feel like the Bruins kind of mimicked that kind of energy, because going in, I think, what was it, 5 minutes into the game?
Yep.
5 minutes into the game, Vincent Trocheck drives to the front of the net off a shot from Jacob Slavin, and there's a wide open rebound right in front, which is a bad rebound. You can't really give up by Swayman, but Brandon Carlo just lets him walk right in. Doesn't really give him any physicality, doesn't body him whatsoever, and he just taps it into the open cage. And from that point on, you're thinking to yourself, okay, well, my expectations were low, but I really didn't think we were going to get blown out 5-1.
No.
Both in all 3 games.
Mm-hmm.
And after that first goal, you're like, well, here we go again. It's more of the same. Swayman's not giving you the saves that you needed him to. You really can't get anything going. You can't enter the zone. There's no speed. There's no breakout. You can't get the puck out of your zone. They're scoring from shots on the point. It's like more of the same garbage that you were used to from the first 2 games. So you're like, shit, well, it's been a good season.
Yep. Wrap it and pack it the fuck in.
And then Thomas Nosek takes a penalty on Sebastian Aho. And you're like, well, here we go, 2-0.
Yep.
Yeah, here we go. Like, quick 2-goal deficit just like that. And then Sebastian, I think it was Teravainen or Sebastian Aho tries to chip the puck off the glass back to the defenseman, and it takes an odd bounce and goes right to Jake DeBrusk. If there's one guy on a 2-on-1 carrying it out of the zone that you don't want it to have, it's out of 3 guys, probably Jake DeBrusk is one of them, just based off the pure speed that he has. No one's really going to be able to back check that. Mm-hmm. He takes up, and Charlie Coyle is the guy who's with him, and he takes it in the zone on the left wing and just throws the most perfect saucer pass right on the stick of Charlie Coyle, and he pots it for the shorthanded goal, and the place erupts.
Oh my! The lane I had where my seats were, to see that sauce pass come in, it was just like it almost felt like it was in slow motion. Watching that thing just soar in the air and just fall right onto Coyle's tape, and I'm pretty sure it didn't even like hit the ice. I'm pretty sure Charlie Coyle picked
knocked
it.
Out of the
air.
air.
Guy's hand-eye
Him and DeBrusk
is absolutely insane.
Yeah. Best two, they're the 2 best guys in terms of hand-eye in the whole entire team.
Charlie Coyle must have been like a good baseball player or something, because his hand-eye is absolutely insane.
Yeah, he's scored some goals where he's literally just like, you remember that goal he batted out of the air twice in a row and put it top right?
Wasn't that against Tampa? Or that
was
in the
against Tampa
bubble.
In the bubble.
Yeah.
But I think he's done it twice.
Yeah, he did it against Carolina, I'm pretty sure, too.
And DeBrusk has had some goals against like LA and Seattle where he's just like batted the puck at him. It's ridiculous.
One goal against Toronto in 2018 when he was barreling the net and he just fucking batted it right out of the air.
I mean, it's ridiculous what he can do with the hand-eye. That's just the kind of presence that he has on offense, and that's why Bruce always puts him out in the 3-on-3 in the regular season, because of just the pure passing and the pure skill,
the creativity, and the speed. Yeah,
and the speed.
And they're both pretty big dudes too. Like Jake DeBrusk is like built pretty good, and obviously
Charlie Coyle is a unit.
I don't have to explain how big Charlie Coyle is,
right.
But their chemistry and their speed and their skill together is something that we've seen all year in the 3-on-3 and 4-on-4 situations. They're always the first guys to hop over the boards, and I mean, man, is it just a fucking treat. Oh, they're just so good together.
And that's one of the key adjustments that he made in Game 3 going into Game 4 when he, you could obviously have put Jake DeBrusk, rather, on that second line right wing where Pasta was with Taylor Hall, but he was like, screw it, no, we're going to put Craig Smith on that second line right wing, put Jake DeBrusk on the third line left wing of Charlie Coyle and Thomas Nosek, which was the move, because those two have had killer chemistry, and that's really what you need. It doesn't really matter about like long-term success if guys are playing well with each other at that current moment, put them together, because you need to take goals wherever you can get them in the playoffs.
Yep, absolutely.
So game 3, that was a key goal. What could have been 2-0, huge hole, all the energy's taken out of the building, all the energy's taken out of that team. Off a stupid penalty, stupid power play goal, it turns into a shorthanded chance and a goal in a tie game. And now
you got the place back in it.
Yeah,
now
the
you got
energy's
TD
back, the fans
back
are behind you, and you just knew, like, right off that, Swayman was giving you some pretty good saves. You knew that was the change of momentum that they needed in the whole entire series. You couldn't score a goal in the first period to save your life.
Oh, no.
And now you just did, rather, on a shorthanded bid, which not only takes the air out of the tires of Carolina, but definitely brings some morale back to the bench. That was absolutely key. I think that one goal changes the tide of the whole entire series. Because if they convert on that power play, it's 2-0. Like I said, it's
the
a huge
place
hole.
is demoralized, right? Like
it's just a hole you can't get into.
Like everybody on the bench is demoralized. Like it wouldn't have been. I don't think we're at a 2-2 series if DeBrusk and Coyle don't bury that goal.
If Coyle misses it, if it skips over his stick.
Yeah.
Oh. I mean, maybe you still would have killed it and gotten a goal down the road, but you definitely needed that one. That was key. And then it's tie 1-1. Billings buzzing. Good hits off the face-off. They get it back into the zone. They're still in the power play. And then a shot on Swayman, rebound right to Nino Niederreiter. And Jeremy Swayman sticks out the right pad and just shuts him down 3 straight times. And it's right there where he gets the puck on his stick in front of the net all by himself, and you're like, bang, there it is.
Yep,
well, it was nice having the lead for 15 seconds. Now it's gone. And that's just another chance for them to absolutely put the nail in the coffin, basically, because that would have demoralized the team even more. And Swayman just makes the big save that you've been waiting for one of the goalies for the Boston Bruins to have all series, and he finally did.
You need them in the playoffs.
The building goes absolutely mental.
Oh, my God.
It was huge.
I can't even explain to you like how I felt during those like 2 moments. Like really, it was just almost like an out of body experience.
Just shit, then let's
2 big plays that turned the complexion of not only that game but jumping forward like Game 4. We'll get into it, but I mean, I don't think we're where we're at right now without those timely saves from Jeremy Swayman and that big shorthanded goal.
Absolutely, and the crowd knew it, the fans knew it, the team knew it. They knew that if Swayman was going to give them the saves, that they had to back him up, and that was absolutely key. So definitely took the air out of their tires. He killed that penalty, ended up. But then, I think, what was it, second period?
Yep.
Tied 1-1 going in intermission. And second period, good pace of play from both teams. They're really just going at it, both playing physical. Chris Wagner doing what he does, hitting everything that moves. I remember you suggested after Game 2 that we put him in. And I was like, dude, like that's a joke. Why? Like that's not going to change anything at all. And you were like, dude, he had 12 hits in his first game back with the team in Toronto for the series for the regular season finale. I was like, yeah, but that's really not going to do anything. But in the playoffs, that kind of hard hitting, energetic play really just energizes the team as a whole.
That's I don't know what it was. It's just something about your fourth line, and I mean we've seen a bunch of them, especially with the Merlot line, like. What a good shift from a fourth line can do for the rest of your team. Like, it might not be much, but, you get the puck deep, play physical, get a good cycle. Even if you don't score, you're not supposed to score if you're the fourth line. But if you create momentum for your team, and I felt that Wags had the ability to do that and come in and play that physical game. And I think that elevated Foligno, too, because Foligno was doing a lot of the same things, going in there in the corners, putting the body on guys. He did a really good job of protecting the puck as well in that Game 3. And, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, your expectations to score goals are very, very low. You just want to go out there, lay the body, get the energy up, especially if it's down. If Carolina's controlling the pace of play, just go out there and hit somebody. That's your job as a fourth liner. It's not really that complicated. You don't have to overcomplicate anything. But that's exactly what they did. Nick Foligno, Curtis Lazar, and Chris Wagner, and they did it phenomenally. And that's the reason that they won those 2 games. But they were both playing very, very hard. And then Bergeron gets that shot, and he kind of just throws it on net on the bumper. It deflects off the stick of, I think, Shea. And
or Brendan Smith, one of those lefties.
Yeah, Marchand drives to the slot because he sees the puck before anyone else does, finds it, and just goes far side on Kochetkov. And you knew the second that happened, and he was having a horrible game. Mind you, same Brad Marchand we saw in games 1, 2, and in the regular season ending. He couldn't find it. He was playing very, very lazy. He couldn't connect on a pass. Couldn't catch a pass. It wasn't the Brad Marchand that you're used to seeing.
Like, does Brad Marchand have? Does he have the fucking yips at that point? I'm asking myself.
1,000% that's what he had. There's no doubt about it. It was either that or he was injured or some way. Like, everyone was kind of wondering what the hell was going on with Brad Marchand. He finds that puck, buries that goal. You knew. Monkey was off the back.
No, I mean, the
Stick in the air,
way he celebrated.
Back to the boards, and everyone on the team was just so happy for him. You kind of just knew Brad Marchand had found his stride, and it changed the complexion of the game. I mean, some bad penalties by Carolina led to a 5-on-3.
I was gonna say, I felt like I've seen him score that goal a million times. Just picking up the puck, loose puck in the slot. Just like waits a second. The patience.
Never a goddamn doubt that he was finishing that.
The fucking patience on Brad Marchand is something that has made him a household name. And he takes like that extra second, and Kochetkov goes down, and then he just goes right over the blocker.
Right over the blocker.
Like,
there's no stopping it. I mean, when he was in that slot with that puck, I was like, there you go, 2-1.
You got to bury that.
Even though it's Brad Marchand who had a tough stretch, he had the yips, like you said. There was no shot Brad Marchand wasn't burying that one way or another.
The lid on that place down there just blew off the place because we all knew that he was fighting it for a little bit. And just such a huge momentum shifter in that game where you feel like, okay, now I feel like we can win this game. And if we do this, we can now carry that momentum into a game 4. Once again, I don't want to foreshadow, but
right.
That's how playoff hockey works. You have to build on momentum, and you have to continue to expand your game and continue to put the pressure on the other team and not let them back in the game. And then you get a 5-on-3.
Yeah. So I'll preface that. Going back to the 4th line, we said that their job was basically to go hit everything that moves.
Energy line.
And
create
energize
energy
the team.
for the team.
But what they've been doing very well, and Thomas Nosek, he's a 4th liner playing on the 3rd line, mind you. What they've been doing very well is drawing penalties.
Mm-hmm.
They've been getting deep, frustrating guys, handling the puck very well, and then getting either these hooking penalties or these tripping penalties. Or Curtis Lazar got a high stick to the face yesterday by Tony DeAngelo. That changed the mode of the game. But Ian Cole takes 2 minutes of interference on Curtis Lazar, and then on that power play, Trocheck hooks Brad Marchand. So it's a 5-on-3, and then you just kind of knew that the power play was so due that there was no shot at 5-on-3 on a playoff game that they weren't going to convert. They had some really good chances there, but they really couldn't just bury it, and they kill off the first penalty, and then Dave Pastrnak gets the puck off a block shot and just finds it, and he'd taken so many shots from that position on that power play. You knew one of them was going to find Twine, and he just goes near side, top left on Kochetkov, and the place just goes absolutely banana land. It was so awesome. You knew that it was his first goal of the playoffs. You knew he was due as well, and he knew it. And that's why he probably took around like 4 shots on that 5-on-3 power play alone.
Their 5-on-3 setup, like I feel like they just constantly overwhelm teams. Like Carolina had a couple 5-on-3s, and it was pretty. I'm not gonna lie to you, it was pretty lackadaisical.
They don't shoot the puck.
That's where you like what I've been taught growing up playing hockey on a 5-on-3 is you want to. You don't want to spread the ice. You want to collapse and get guys out of position. And I mean, we saw it before where Pastrnak, fake shot and gets the guy out of the way, but he doesn't even rip it. Just catches, waits, and then just rips it right over the blocker.
He waits for the goalie to move, and he just finds his spot and picks it perfectly through the screen of. I think the defense was probably either Brendan Smith or Shea, like you said, that left-handed defenseman. But there you go. Not only was that your first lead in the whole entire series with that Brad Marchand goal. It was the first lead all season against the Canes. And now you're up 2.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're up 2. Now you're showing, okay, now we can play.
Yep, now we're right back in this fucking thing.
So that was a huge goal for them. They go into the 3rd period up 3-1. And all you need to do going into the 3rd period is not get outscored by 2.
Continue to do the right things.
Yeah.
Get the puck deep. Don't let them get momentum, right? Don't let them cycle the puck all over you. Stay in their end.
Right.
And, I mean, that's exactly what they did for at least I would say the first half of the third period.
So I think going into this homestand, the reason why the Canes were killing you so badly were the undisciplined plays, the like I said, taking too many penalties, shots getting through traffic and hitting that weak defense in front, and then just not really getting a save from your goaltender. But going into this, Derek Forbort has 9 block shots. I don't think they took that many. I think they took how many penalties? I mean, they did take a lot of penalties, but there's a lot of penalties in this game. They took about 6, but Carolina took 7. So it was really just they're calling really everything. So you had to be better on the power play. If they're going to be calling everything, you need to be better on the power play. And they were. They really answered that bell. So hats off to those guys. Derek Forbort I think he was on every single penalty kill, and he blocked 9 shots on it. He was instrumental. No pucks were getting to the net. When you have undersized guys like Grzelcyk and I think Mike Riley is in Clifton are all little undersized defensemen. So they're guys like Mark Stahl and Trocheck and Nino Niederreiter are really having their way in front. So if you can deny them shots in front of the net and not even let them get on that, then that's really what they need to do, and they did that really well in this game. So I think that was one of their keys.
Yeah, that was one of the problems in the Islanders series last year is just they got physically beat up out front and on the half walls. And I mean, they both that New York team and that Carolina team play a very similar style where it's a physical forechecking team, but they can also cycle the Christ out of the puck, and they move it down low to up top, down low to up top, and then they start throwing point shots, and they get – I mean, that put the puck on net and good things happen, and that's exactly what they do. That's what they've been doing all season, and it's been working for them. When you, like you said, when you have guys like Matt Grzelcyk and Mike Riley and Connor Clifton, you're going to get bullied out front, but you have to do a good job of picking up sticks and at least try and give Jeremy Swayman a lane to see the puck and save it.
Absolutely. So that's what they're doing. That's kind of all that they had to do going into that third period. You just had to keep playing that game and not let them adjust to what you were doing right. And they did that exactly. They were more agitated in the offensive zone. Obviously, Vincent Trocheck takes another tripping penalty on Tomas Nosek behind the net, just grinding away, doing his thing, protecting the puck, having good possessions, and he gets caught underneath the stick of Vincent Trocheck, and the Bruins get another power play, and you score 3 goals at home, the place is buzzing. You got swagger, and you knew that's the exact swagger was going to translate to that ensuing power play, and God did it. It was an absolutely beautiful play. I think Marchand tossed it down low he made a good move on the boards to beat a guy and got some space, tossed it down to Taylor Hall, who was wide open. He threw a cross ice to Pasta. Pasta had the perfect amount of patience. Taylor Hall stick on the ice. Bada bing, bada boom, 4-1.
It was like almost like a catch and shoot where he just pulled it back and then just slid it right back because that defenseman, when Hall gave it to him, that defenseman like sucked over to him.
Right.
Because obviously you have to. He's a 40-goal scorer. That's his office right there. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, just what a beautiful pass. Great tap in by Hall. I mean,
yeah, David Pastrnak's a great goal scorer, but I think what flies on the radar is just his pure ability, just pure playmaking ability to see the ice and see guys that are wide open. And, when you have that skill of being a great goal scorer, people are going to be wide open for you to hit with the pass. So if you can do that, then that's what makes you a complete player, and that's why that goal was so good.
I think that's honestly why people want to call Marchand, Bergeron, Pastrnak the perfection line, because they all have the ability to score, and they're all fantastic playmakers too. Like the way they move the puck and cycle the puck and know where they're gonna be. If like Marchand's coming up the wall and his back's turned to the play, he knows where Pastrnak's gonna be. He knows where Bergeron's gonna be.
Absolutely. I mean, and that was perfect. So you're up 3. Not only on a team that's dominated in the regular season, but a team that dominated in the first 2 games. So going into that game 3, you didn't have a chance. Now you're up 4-1. You had them exactly where you wanted to. So with 11:30 left in the third period, Jacob Slavin throws a dinky little shot on the net. Jeremy Swayman. Got me think about Forbort, too. Guys stuck in my mind.
He just blocked a shot as we speak. Actually.
Exactly, yeah. He's taking wrist shots in his living room right now to the knee. But Jacob Slavin throws one on Jeremy Swayman in his first playoff game, you knew that he was going to have some gaffes, or his first playoff start, rather. You knew he was going to have some gaffes, and he just kind of fell asleep on this one, and that's definitely one he wanted back. So it definitely made the game a lot tighter than it needed to be the last 9.5. We're all Carolina.
Yep.
They ran show, just having so much offensive zone time. A lot of shots on that. A lot of, there's one play where I think it was Teravainen threw it cross ice to Svechnikov.
Oh,
and
yeah.
he had the whole entire side open, and the puck just skipped over his stick. And if that went in, I think that was with 4.5 minutes left. It's a 1-goal game with 4.5 left. Pulled the goalie. We could be seeing overtime. So
Yep.
it was a costly goal for the Bruins, but it turned out to just barely not bite them in the ass, and it led to a very stressful end of the game. But they got it done. They really shut it down. They got some puck luck, and that's really all you need in the playoffs to really secure a win and hold that lead.
And now you're right back in the series. Now you feel that, okay, we got some life. Now we really need to make a push to win this game on, what was this, yesterday, right? Yesterday afternoon?
Yep.
And, I mean,
Sunday.
you built the momentum. You did what you wanted to do. You won the one-on-one battles. You did a good job out front, and you were putting the puck in the back of the net on the power play. And that's what really was taking a toll on this team through the first 2 games.
Yeah. So I think that's all you really needed. Playoffs are all about confidence, about who gets hot, and if you want to play well, you just got to have confidence that you can. And in those first 2 games, you really weren't granted any. And for the fact that they came into that game 3, after getting embarrassed 2 games in a row, which has never happened to this team in 10 years, there were doubts on if they could really muster up that confidence to get back to playing their game, and they did. They did exactly that. So it was all about believing they could. Now that they got a game under their belt, they need to just continue the game that they were playing, and that's exactly what they did yesterday on Sunday. So great win there. I know after Game 3, the Garden was buzzing walking out of that game. People felt it. People believed. And going into that game, there were a ton of signs and T-shirts saying "We believe," like letting the team know that they weren't going to give up, and that they had a feeling that Game 2 or Game 3 was going to be a win, and Game 4 was going to be better, and we'd be going back to Carolina with the tie series. That's exactly what's happening. So it's just all about believing you can do it. Hockey's a game about confidence, and now that they had that and they still have it, people are kind of favoring them in the series already after being down 0-2 and presumed dead.
No, you do.
By a lot of people.
Oh, by you.
No.
Yeah, you cause of death unknown.
Right, that's a joke. I said
I know.
foul play suspected. I never gave up. I
know.
It was looking bleak. But
It was looking bleak.
for sure. The great Don Cherry once said, "Series isn't over till you lose a game at home," and I stood by that. I was like, if we lose Game 3, bingo,
It's over. Yeah.
And I was like, if we lose Game 4, bingo, it's over. And they won both of them. So, big Game 3. Awesome game. I know, they go all out, and that's what the playoffs are all about. It's all about the guys who have shown up for you before, your key guys. They need to show up, and they did. And they really played a perfect game, both in the offensive zone and defensive zone. So, going to Game 4 yesterday was stressful, man.
Oh, my God. It was
Not going to lie to you.
Especially with the 12:30 start, too. You don't even, at least you have the whole day to, mentally prepare yourself for the game. You're getting up at, 9:30, 10, and this game's on in 2.5 hours. And then you got to, I had to go to work after this game, and I was, thinking to myself, I'm like, am I really going to go sit for 5 hours and just be absolutely demoralized thinking about the Bruins being down 3-1? I couldn't even picture it.
Going back to Carolina.
Sick to my goddamn stomach.
And when you talk about games that are must win, Game 3 was must win. But Game 4, I would say it's even more.
That's literally where the series is going to shift. If Carolina they win Game 4, Carolina's going to win in Game 5, and the series is over.
Yeah.
If you win tonight, you give yourself a chance.
You got all the momentum. Going into Game 5. You knew that Carolina was going to come out hot because they had made the adjustments of the things that you did in Game 3. Very well-coached team, very sound, very fundamentally sound team that makes good adjustments. So you knew that they were going to come out flying, and that's exactly what they did. Very slow start. Really couldn't get anything going in the first 15 minutes, but Carolina just seemed like it was basically for the first 15 minutes. It was a 15-minute penalty kill with 5-on-5 play.
Yeah, I mean they got right into their forechecking game, right into their cycling game, point shots, all the stuff that made them successful in the first 2 games were now happening in Game 4. And now I'm sitting there watching this game no, please don't do this. Don't come out like this and don't ruin my day. Don't come out and lay a goddamn egg.
Don't
They
lay
in a
egg,
goddamn
especially
egg.
after that phenomenal game 3. You just needed to see something out of them. You needed to
needed
see
to-
some consistency in play. And for the first 15 minutes, you couldn't get any offensive zone time going. You couldn't set anything up. Your guys, they couldn't enter the zone. They were getting bodied in the forecheck, losing the puck. You couldn't clear the puck in the defensive zone. And then it finally came back to bite you. I think it was Jordan Stahl brought the puck into the zone. You had two guys puck watching, and Jake DeBrusk and David Pastrnak.
You had
And Brett Pesce just finds himself right in the slot with the puck, and Jake DeBrusk goes down the block, it screens Swayman perfectly. The shot finds the 5-hole Swayman, and it's 1-0 Carolina.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good break-in. I think it was Trocheck in the middle. Trocheck got it in the zone, slid it over to Stahl. Stahl kind of waited until the play developed. Brett Pesce came right in, jumped in, active D. That's what you need in today's NHL. Stepped into a shot and buried it 5-hole. Plain and simple.
Plain and simple. Really nothing to break down there. Just breaking coverage by the forwards of the Bruins, and Pesce made him pay. So it's 1-0. Definitely don't deserve to be up in that game or tied. And there you go. You're down 1 with 5 minutes left in the first. You got to see your response. There got to be something shown to the fans and to the rest of the team that, hey, we're down 1-0, but we're not going to lay down and die.
You need something to build into going into the second period. You want to have a last good 5 minutes of the first period to then bring it over to the second period.
Absolutely, and you get a very good shift from, I think it was the fourth line. They bang bodies around, and they force you get some good chances, and then they force the Hurricanes to ice it. And instantly that
Who's hopping
Bergeron,
over the
Marchand, and
boards.
Pastrnak are hopping off the boards. That's exactly who you needed.
Yep.
I'm like, okay, here we go. And I'm right behind the bench, so I'm seeing everything.
Get the ones out now.
Yeah. So I'm like, get the first line out there right now. They get out there. Bergeron wins the face-off. They're cycling pucks. They're finally zipping around passes, which is something they've really failed to do in the first 2 games, a little bit in Game 3. Just pass. You need to see them complete nice passes, and they were. And DeBrusk throws was it DeBrusk?
No, so it was off the face-off. Puck kind of squirted loose. Marchand came in, threw it on net. Ranta made the save. It went behind the net, and then it squirted back. Bergeron got right to the front of the net, got the puck, and just stuffed it in.
Right. Pasta goes behind the net after the shot from Marchand. Rebound by Ranta goes behind the net. Pasta goes and chases it. Kind of gets on the backhand, just tosses it in front of the net. Bergeron finds it before anyone else does and just sneaks onto the pad.
Yep.
It's exactly what you needed.
That
was a play exactly like that.
Gritty goal.
Yeah, just a gritty. You needed a gritty one. You
Yeah,
needed a little
you did.
dirty, greasy goal to kind of get the boys going. Sunday afternoon, you weren't getting those top shelf, perfect, tic-tac-toe goals. You needed a greasy one to kind of get your legs under you and get the confidence and tie this one up. And for that minute 30 between Pesce's goal and Bergeron's goal, it was bleak.
It was bleak.
It was very quiet in the Garden. A lot of people were kind of counting the Bruins out. My brother looks at me and he goes, "It's over. It's over. We're done." And I'm like, leave.
Bill.
Leave. I'm like,
Billy.
I'm like, if that's gonna be your attitude, get out.
Get out, yeah.
So
Come on.
Bergeron getting that greasy one was huge, and the energy's right back in the building. Those fans are there to wave those yellow towels and scream their heads off at 12:30 in the afternoon on Mother's Day. They want to get loud, and that's exactly what that. There wasn't an empty seat in the balcony.
Nope.
Look, I was trying to find one. You couldn't. And obviously in the Loge, there's a lot of people who just kind of skip the game, so there's some empty seats, but the balcony is where the energy's coming from.
Yeah, it is.
And they brought it yesterday. So
Bucci Gross had a good tweet. It was like, only in Boston can you go from eating communion at 10 a.m. to drinking Jameson watching the Bruins at 12:30.
yeah, that's exactly what we were doing. So it was phenomenal. That place was rocking. That Bergeron goal. You were hoping that those 2 goals in Game 2 weren't a fluke from Bergeron, that he can continue his greatness, his excellence in the series so far, and he gets you on the board early or late in that first period, and you're going in the second period tied 1-1, which is key.
Now you have something to build off of coming out into period 2, and you want a good start. You want a good first shift to get the boys right back in it, build some momentum, and then I get up to go take a leak. And I come back, and Jordan Stahl's celebrating.
I wasn't even to my seat. They're playing the music that they do before the period starts. Everyone's kind of scrolling back to their seat. We were in like the Cross Mortgage sports house, wherever they get like free food or whatever. We found like these wristbands. We're up there and we're getting back to our seats, and I hear like da 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 da.
That is the most demoralizing organ thing ever.
And you're like, shit. What the fuck?
Just like what? Like what happened?
I'm like palms to the sky.
Yeah, I had my head. I came back down. I was just like,
Don't
had my
tell me.
hands over my head, just like why,
Yeah.
why?
And a stupid goal.
Yeah, really stupid. Like
I think
why?
it was. I don't know why the hell I can't figure out these primary assists.
Jordan Stahl just goes fucking top nipples from like 5 feet.
It just may be the
Piping
worst
in.
defense ever from Riley and Josh Brown, which was a scary point of the pregame. You didn't really know.
Which by the way, you speaking of Josh Brown, Charlie McAvoy, like what was it, 10 minutes before warm-ups, gets announced.
How do we
as
not
out.
talk about this?
And we didn't even talk about Hampus Lindholm being out since game 1.
Crushed!
With that fucking beautiful hit.
Yeah,
from
I
Andrei
didn't want to
Svechnikov.
really dwell too much on those 2 games just because they were very, very low points in the season.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Hampus Lindholm could play Game 5. He has to be cleared first, but he has a tinted visor for the concussion, so the lights, it's steezy as hell. But yeah, Charlie McAvoy gets COVID 10 minutes before puck drop, which is just like, what the fuck?
That was absolutely demoralizing. I just like exactly what you do not need going into this game, right? You need everybody full-fledged, full force, let's go, and then your best fucking defenseman.
Who's been solid for you all series long.
All series long has probably been the one bright point besides Patrice Bergeron, and he's out with COVID-19.
With COVID? I didn't even know we were still doing that.
Me neither.
COVID.
Like, come on, man.
Give me a break. So I think everyone that was either watching the game or going to the game was just like, what the hell? Like, how many bad bounces can you possibly get? And you just knew that top line of Grzelcyk and Carlo and guys like Mike Riley and Josh Brown were gonna have to step up and really give you that boost and just play the best hockey that they possibly could. Mm-hmm. I feel like that's exactly what they really came out and did. Niederreiter, like I said, goes behind the net and he just finds Jordan Stahl stringing the net, and I think it deflects off Josh Brown.
It might have, yeah.
Yeah, Mike Riley's on one knee trying to block the pass. It goes right by
Josh
him.
Brown's
Josh
literally
Brown's
facing Niederreiter, and Jordan Stahl's behind him.
He's just like he's a mannequin at a Macy's, standing in front of the net. It deflects right off him, goes top right. And before people even have a chance to get back into their seats, the Bruins are down 1, which absolutely sucked. And you were just like, yeah, this is gonna be one of these second periods that we look back on and we're like, shit. What if we didn't blow that second period, we'd still be in this series? And you knew they needed to respond. And it was just kind of a slow second period. Not a lot of chances. Ronta making the saves that he needed to. When we were kind of getting that pressure, but really nothing doing. And then late second period, there's a penalty by the Hurricanes had 6 penalties in the second period.
Oh yeah,
Svechnikov, Trocheck, Teravainen, Niederreiter. Delay of game, and Aho. So all self-inflicted, especially the last one. Niederreiter tosses the puck. Oh, was that it? Oh, yeah, okay. So Niederreiter, who's had penalty troubles all series, trips Craig Smith. So basically my mantra this whole entire series is you let your top 5 guys score the goals, and then if anyone else wants to contribute, I have no real confidence in guys like Craig Smith and Tom Snosek and Chris Wagner to score goals, but if you can get us on the power play, you've done your job effectively.
Find other ways to contribute.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what Craig Smith did. He hasn't been scoring a lot, but
not making plays whatsoever.
No,
can't even catch a pass.
No, I mean it's been bad.
But if he can play hard, and draw these penalties and get us in the power play, which are key in the playoffs, especially for the Bruins, that's where their strong suit lies right now. I know it's been tough for them all season, but they're really finding it. So, and they cherish these chances on the power play, and Craig Smith playing real hard. I feel like most of our power plays have came from on the boards, playing hard, winning battles, protecting the puck, and then eventually you're gonna get tripped or hooked, and that's exactly what happened here.
Well, because you're just outworking them. You're just outworking them. You keep moving the puck and you keep moving your feet. You get guys out of position and guys make lazy plays with their sticks. I've seen it a million goddamn times.
Yeah, so that was more of the same. And Craig Smith gets you on the power play, which if there's ever a time to score, you had 3 different power plays before this, and you didn't convert on any of them, which was incredibly
Saddening.
aggravating and just like.
It was
very
saddening.
confusing as to how you're not scoring. And then I think it was it Bergeron that put the puck in front or Marchand? Well, long story short, there was a puck lying in the crease right in front of Ronta. He doesn't see it. Jake DeBrusk finds it before anyone else does. Kind of gives his stick a shove in there. Ronta goes down mysteriously. There's a lot of bodies, a lot of sticks flying, and DeBrusk finds it before anyone else does and puts it far side, and it's a tie ball game.
Yep,
with a minute 15 left.
That is exactly what coaches tell you to do. You play to the whistle, and there was no whistle. Puck was loose.
He saw it before anyone else did.
When I went back and I watched the replay of it, because obviously it looks like DeBrusk just like mangles his pad and gets his pad out of there. Pesce's in there first.
Yeah.
Pesce hits his pad first. So in my opinion, that's free game.
As well as Shea crashing the net, and he made contact with Ronta with the body.
Mm-hmm.
So there was too many. I think there was too many factors. There's too many things going in there. Everyone, especially Billy, being the pessimist that he was like, that's a no goal. I've seen it a million times. It's a no goal. I go, no.
That's a good goal.
The rule is, for it to be goalie interference, you need to interfere with the goaltender's ability to make the save.
Yep.
Ronta, doesn't know where the puck is. All of his defensemen are in the crease, swinging their sticks around as well. Jake DeBrusk, finds it for anyone else. There's no whistle. Ref sees the puck. It's right there. He's not interfering with his ability to make the save.
Nope.
Because Ronta has no idea where the puck is.
Mm-hmm.
If he wanted to make the save and he saw the puck and he was like that, and then DeBrusk pushed him and moved it, there you go. It's goaltender interference. But if Ronta isn't even in the position to make the save in the first place, it's not goaltender interference. And I think the official call was, there were many different angles, but one showed that Pesce and Shea also made contact with Ronta to mess him up too. So there's so many factors. A lot of people disagree. There's a lot of difference in opinion, but that was the right call eventually.
Yeah.
And let me just tell you this.
Go ahead.
So, place is going crazy. The roof is off. Towels are flying. Everyone's freaking out in this second period. You've been purely dominated. And after that stall goal, you go, okay, we're going to get out of the second period down 4-1. You're going into the third period. It's tied. After being absolutely dominated, being on the penalty on the power play the whole entire period and not converting, they have all the momentum. And then DeBrusk finds that goal. Brendan Moore challenges it. You're like, no, we didn't just tie up the game in this in the second period. We've been purely dominated. We finally got the tying goal. We're gonna get out of it tied. Now it's gonna come back. Like, there's no way.
Yeah,
that's gonna be incredibly demoralizing.
So the most important part of this all is that the initial call on the ice was a goal. So for fans that don't know, to overturn the call, you need inclusive evidence to overturn the call. In my opinion, there was literally nothing to go off of to overturn that. There was literally nothing. That's why the argument is stupid in my opinion. The people's opinions are stupid, because how can you what can you pinpoint to overturn that call?
Nothing.
You can't
There's
pinpoint
no definitive
anything.
evidence of DeBrusk pushing the pad down. There's way too many guys in there not even playing the puck, just playing the body.
Pesce's stick is on his pad first. Where the pad that DeBrusk pushed, Pesce's stick is already there, and it looks like he pushes him too.
Yeah, so I think, trying to look at it on a bipartisan perspective, I think if you really wanted to call it off, call goaltender interference, you definitely need to have definitive evidence and like a clear shot of Jake DeBrusk pushing out his, tripping Ronta and bringing him to his knees. But I think there's so many factors as to why they called it a goal. Like I said, Ronta didn't know where the puck is. There's too many guys in the crease. If you have that many reasons signifying why it's a goal and why the call should stand, then it's not even debatable.
Yeah.
It's not even debatable. You have to have undisputable evidence that it's goaltender interference. And if you have that many reasons telling people that it's not goaltender interference, then it's not.
It was a stupid coaching decision by Carolina. I'm not going to lie to you. That is Rod Brendamore is a good coach. I will give him full props. That was a absolutely asinine challenge, because for the people that don't know, if the challenge doesn't go your way, you are on the penalty kill.
Yep, you're penalized.
So
referee Fred
Lacroix
comes out to center ice, and after he loves a flair for the dramatic. He goes after review, the call on the ice.
Call on the ice, stands,
and the place goes
not even stands.
Nuts.
The call on the ice, stand. We have good goal.
Yeah, and the place, the roof comes off the place. People are freaking out. Everyone that thought that it was gonna be a no goal is just out of pure relief, pure surprise. I was like, I knew that.
So now, not only do you have the game tied 2-2 late in
You
the
look up
second
at the
period.
Jumbotron, you see number 21 on the penalty box, 2 minutes, and we're back on the power
Delay
play.
game, and now we're back on the power play.
So there you go. Not only is it tied, but you could go into the third period up 1,
Mm-hmm.
which is a goddamn miracle.
Yeah, right? Like,
How-
are we
how in
getting
the
a
world-
bounce right now?
How
Like,
in the world are we going to be able to go into the third period up 1? It makes absolutely no sense. And the power play jumps over the boards. You're like, here we go, fellas. Time to go get another one. Those same guys that just scored that goal come back. Marchand, Bergeron, Pastrnak, DeBrusque, and I think Mike Riley was out there for the goal, and they all go out there. I think Grzelcyk replaced Riley on that first power play, but they have outstanding pressure. They're making the right passes. Marchand finds Bergeron in the bumper. Bergeron kicks out, tries to look for it. Sebastian Aho gets his stick in the face of Patrice Bergeron. High sticking. Blood pouring down Bergeron's face. I thought he got him directly in the eye.
I did too. That's why I was frightened at
Is
first.
Bergeron going to have to play with an eye patch?
Yeah.
He goes. He sits at the penalty bench, grabs a towel. I'm like, shit. He just lost his eye, and I was like, but everyone else is thinking 4 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, yeah, obviously it's 4 minutes. It's
But
called.
you might have just lost your cap.
You're going on the 5-on-3 for 2 minutes, going in the third period. Bergeron, who everyone expected to run down the tunnel,
He
is
wanted
sitting
to
in the
stay
door of the penalty of the bench, yelling at referee Chris Lee, trying to get back out there. Buddy, there's blood gushing down your face.
Go get that patched up.
That's
You're going to
exactly-
have the 5-on-3
Yeah,
coming in
that's
third.
exactly what Chris Lee said. You could read his lips. He goes, no, go. And he runs right down, gets stitched up real quick by I think it was Don down there. Goes, he's the athletic trainer for the playoffs, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. And he goes down there, gets real stitched up. Charlie Coyle has like a quick shift with the top unit, and then Bergeron's right back out there. They really don't convert, but going in the third period with, I think it was 2.5 minutes of 5-on-3 time, and you knew that you had to convert. Mm-hmm. You knew that there was no other way.
I thought because I thought it was just a 2 minutes of 5-on-3, and then if they were to score, you would get the full, like, I think it was like 2.5, 2:45.
So the way it went is that you're going into the third period with
probably like one.
It was a minute and a half.
Yeah, a minute.
A minute and a half of 5-on-3 time.
And you got to score to keep that double minor
Right.
time left.
And I'll tell you,
if you don't score, it just goes back to a 2
I'll tell you. So, like I said in the second period, we all missed the Eric Stahl goal or the Jordan Stahl goal because no one was back in their seat. Mm-hmm. Everybody was back in their seat for puck drop in the third period because everyone knew there's a minute and a half of 5-on-3 time. If anything's going to happen, it's going to happen here. I was in my seat with 5 minutes left in intermission, just sitting there. Like,
I don't think I would
sitting
even
there
left.
like a kid on Christmas waiting to open up his gift. So I was just giddy. I was like, here we go.
We got a fat 5-on-3
Yeah.
coming right now.
The
Come
puck
on,
the puck
boys.
drops. They get in the zone. A couple good chances, but Ronta makes a stop. They send out the main unit. There's about probably a minute left on the 5-on-3. The second unit of Craig Smith, Jake DeBrusk, Charlie Coyle. Doesn't really do anything, but they do get the freeze. Bang. Who comes over the board's top unit? You're like, okay.
Yep,
Here
here we go.
Here it comes. Here it comes. And everyone knows it. Everyone is just... For the whole entire third period, everyone was standing. At least in my section... I think behind the penalty benches, not everyone was. It was weird. Like, one half of the arena was, but it was awesome. Great energy. And they just gave Brad Marchand way too much space.
When Brad Marchand was sitting in the top of the slot,
Yeah.
I knew right away.
So the thing is, this is what they did for the 5-on-3. They kind of changed it up a little bit. Instead of
I know, it
having
was
the
weird.
defenseman up high, they had Charlie Coyle at the point running quarterback, which was great. I liked it. He played great, and I was like, oh, shit, maybe we're finding something here. Jake DeBrusk throws it over to Charlie Coyle. Charlie Coyle kind of surveys, looks at Pastrnak, looks at Marchand. Marchand kind of does this thing where he circles around and cuts towards the front on that. He gets the puck in the slot.
And then eventually,
Perfect.
DeBrusk and Coyle end up down low, and it was almost like a perfect box where you had Coyle and DeBrusk both backdoor, and then you had Pasta, and I think Bergie was
in the
kind of
bumper.
hovering right there, looking for maybe a catch and shoot, and then puck comes back to Brad, gets the one leg in the air. I stood up.
Yep.
I was up already.
So I'll tell you, I'm sitting right behind Carolina's bench, probably 10 rows up. So I had the perfect. I'm looking left. They're shooting to the left of me. I'm looking right to it. I have the perfect angle through the screen, right top right, and I'm like, bang. I'm like, here we go. Stand up, scores. And Ronta never had a chance. It was a perfect screen, and that's you knew after game 3, the monkey was off the back of Brad Marchand that he was going to turn it up no matter what.
He was so bad.
And he was ready to shoot. He was ready to shoot, and he got in his position. They gave him chronically too much space.
Yeah.
And he made him pay.
He did make him pay.
Place goes absolutely banana lands, and he scores the goal with a second left on the 5-on-3. So you still have the whole entire 2.5 minutes of power play from the high sticking on Sebastian Aho.
Yep.
Like, could you draw it up any better?
No,
that?
like that's what we needed. We need like the little stuff like that to go our way.
Yeah.
And that we didn't have going our way in games 1 and 2.
It was perfectly executed. The place goes absolutely nuts. Brad Marchand, you knew he wanted to score that after that whole entire basically month and a half stretch of not being able to put the puck in the net, not being able to score. I think he didn't have a goal in like 38 days.
Yeah.
Since like I think it was probably since the Montreal.
The one goal he had too
overtime
was
goal.
the empty netter.
Yeah.
Like
So it was pathetic, but here he is in the playoffs, Game 4 to tie up the series, scoring on the power play to take the lead in the third period. Those are the moments that Brad Marchand was made for.
Yeah, dude, when he jumps in the air and he's got his hand, when he gives that little like hop step, just like fist bump, I want to run through a goddamn wall.
He wanted to skate right to the bench and just go absolutely nuts. The place, the roof was gonna fly off the place. People were throwing towels onto the ice. It was electric, and that's the moment that you needed for sure. And then from there on, it was really just all Bruins.
Literally all. It was the train had fallen off the tracks for the Hurricanes.
Yeah. All momentum was for the Bruins after taking that many penalties. Some guys might have thought it was a stupid challenge by Brind'Amour, and it just seemed like the energy for the Hurricanes just was off. Obviously, they had some good chances in the third period late, but they just kind of struggled to shoot the puck. Nick Foligno takes a 2-minute. Matt Grzelcyk takes a 2-minute high sticking penalty for Jordan Staal, which kind of seemed like a reach. No one really knew what the call was. The call wasn't even on Grzelcyk; it was on DeBrusk. They called it on the wrong person, so it was definitely just seemed like they were reaching. It was a moment of frustration, but it was kind of like a what are you made of penalty kill. You just took the lead, so now you got to shut it down, and they did. They executed it perfectly, shutting down the lanes. Obviously, Tony DeAngelo was key for them on that power play, kind of just running the point and finding that open lane and getting a shot to the net and waiting for a rebound or tip. And guys like Thomas Nosek and Charlie Coyle and Derek Forbert were key to shutting that down and not letting them do that, because that's kind of where they are. That's kind of where their strong suit is on the power play, at least on offense. So that was key for them. It was a good kill. But really, the story, if we're talking Tony DeAngelo this whole entire game,
say that meatball eating fuck.
Brad Marchand. Not only did he have 5 points, he played like
beachfront property.
Yeah, he played like Brad Marchand in this game. That's really, I know people have been saying it ever since the end of the game yesterday or on Sunday, but this is where Brad Marchand plays his best game, when he's getting in the heads of his opponents and really playing that rat-like game where he can kind of, goon it up but also put up 5 points and get in the head of his opponents and make it harder and just really be incredibly difficult to play against. And for a guy... One second. For a guy who's their best offensive defenseman, one of their best players on offense in general, to just be completely shut down and demoralized and frustrated like that. That's the Brad Marchand effect. Not only could he put up 5 points, 2 goals, 3 assists, but he can get in the heads of the opponent and make it harder for them to perform the way they want to.
NHLPA had a poll. One of the questions was, who is one player that you hate playing against but you would love on your team? I think it was 45% of the votes went to Brad Marchand. Like, that is what he does. 5-point night and pissing off the other team. Tony DeAngelo, that was the definition of losing your marbles. Mm-hmm. That was like a 12-year-old, like me in fucking JP Vermont playing knee hockey, throwing my goddamn stick to keep the puck out of the net.
Exactly.
Like, and then, even before that, he cross-checks Curtis Lazar right in the mouth.
Yeah, that's later on in the game.
Yeah, and then Lazard gets up and he's like,
What the fuck are you doing?
What the fuck are you doing?
What are you doing?
Face washes him twice.
Everybody in the building was saying 4. That's 4 minutes. If that's Brad Marchand, that's 4 minutes without question.
That's 4 minutes and a $5,000 fine for Marchand.
Maximum allowed under the CBA. Mm-hmm. And, I guess they're just not calling it both ways, but it is what it is. But after that goal by Marchand, we'll back it up a little bit. Like we were saying, that's what Brad Marchand does. He gets under the skin of his opponents, but not only that, he puts up 5 points a game.
Is that good?
And after that goal, you just knew. So they score the goal. But then the penalty by Grzelcyk, quote unquote.
Penalty.
You killed that. There you go. You not only have you taken the lead, but you've defended it. You've earned it. They have all the swagger.
Yeah, they do.
And not only that, the perfection line is getting even more comfortable being back together. Patrice Bergeron wins the faceoff. And you just see the clockwise rotation by David Pastrnak to the front of that. Marchand finds that puck for anyone else. Sends the perfect pass.
Like, couldn't be almost like a perfect putt. Like, it was the perfect speed, right on the tape. Like,
Brady Shea didn't have a goddamn chance.
No, and neither did fucking Ranta.
Yeah, Pastrnak stick on the ice, finds the puck perfectly, just tosses it in the empty cage. And everyone is like, "Oh my god,
that is just vintage,
filthy."
That is just those three in a nutshell. Their ability to
it's
make
just
plays off face-offs.
Globetrotter-esque hockey right there.
Like when
against a team that is great defensively.
Yeah, and it has good face-off guys too. Like Aho and Jordan Stahl and Vinny Trocheck are all good on the draws.
Phenomenal, some of the best.
When you have 37 down the middle, that doesn't even matter. And then, literally, like you said, that what was it, clockwise? Yeah, it was that clockwise rotation. Marchand comes down the wall and just sends it right out in front. I think it was Brendan Smith out front, or it was one of the left-handed defensemen. We can't even figure it out at this point. They both stink anyway.
Yeah.
But Pastrnak, just perfect shot, right on the right side of the net. I mean, and then, you just knew at that point, like, yeah, we're all the way fucking back.
Oh, they're back.
We are all the way back.
They had the swagger, and they knew that they had what it takes to kind of play well together again. The rust was shaken off, and we're right back to 2019 perfection line of where they're just a dominant force that no one can really stop, no matter how good defensively you are. So the roof blew off the place, and like you said, it was just basically all about kind of getting under the skin of the opposition. And with 10 minutes left in the third period, Curtis Lazar doing what he does, playing hard with strength and skill and speed, gets into the zone, gets a puck on net, goes in front of the net, and just gets a cross-check up high against Tony DeAngelo.
Right in the mouth.
So you're down 2 goals. Not only do you need a power play and you need scoring chances, you can't take penalties like that.
You can't take stupid penalties.
You can't take stupid penalties like that. So that's just a stupid penalty. And Curtis Lazar, who, he's not an agitator, but he plays hard and he's hard to play against, takes up high, and he's like, dude, you guys are down 2. What the fuck are you doing?
What are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, if there's any time you can't take a penalty, it's right there. Obviously, the Bruins don't capitalize on it, but it takes the clock down from 10 minutes up to 8 minutes down to. You know what I mean? So even if you didn't score, it still takes a fifth of the time remaining off the clock that you would have spent defending them. Now you only have to kill at 8, and the Bruins did just that, getting pucks in lanes. Jeremy Swayman making instrumental saves when he needed to, had some great glove saves, but the blocker side was phenomenal too. Just really, when there would have been chances in front, he was deflecting them wide. Yep. So he was doing everything. He was doing everything well. Obviously, props to Bob Ascens, the goalie coach for the Bruins, probably coached him up on the plane nonstop from games 3 and 4. Just kind of really breaking down what he needed to do to succeed against the team. And that's exactly what they did. And they really just shut it down. And then with 35 seconds left, Charlie Coyle has an instrumental clear. Brandon Carlo with a great block. Guys, I would like to just say this. Guys, in games 3 and 4 that were failing to clear the puck in games 1 and 2, Nick Foligno, Derek Forbert, Brandon Carlo, Matt Grzelcyk, causing them goals. Eric Halla as well. Who had,
throw him in the net.
Yeah, he led to a goal in game 2. Everyone was clearing pucks.
Yeah,
when you had a chance to get the puck out of the zone and you made a good play, not only were you getting the puck out, but it was leading to transition offense. And Charlie Coyle, after a great block by Brandon Carlo, where you really needed him to stand out, he really did with Charlie McAvoy out. Charlie Coyle finds the puck, just absolutely skies it. Tom Brady, Hail Mary.
Yeah.
Brad Marchand's to the puck before Tony DeAngelo. Finds the open net, fires it. Crowd goes wild. Tony DeAngelo whips his stick at Brad Marchand. Just an ultimate clown show. If you watch every single highlight reel, whether it's Nesson, I think Sportsnet did a coverage, and then ESPN, every single announcer is like, and DeAngelo throws his stick.
Yes.
Just like so derogatorily calling DeAngelo, like, dude, what are you doing? You're making a fool out of yourself.
How about, did you see when I think it was Marshy and DeAngelo going into the second intermission, just Marshy just absolutely giving it to him.
Yeah.
You fucking racist.
You're a fucking racist.
You're a fucking
racist.
And then he turns to the referee. He goes, "No, he's really
racist." Yeah, it's not a chirp. It's an astute observation.
No, he's racist.
What, you didn't know?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm pointing out the obvious here. Brad Marchand absolutely loves to play that kind of game.
Warfare.
Mental warfare, getting under the skin of his opponents. And he does his research.
Oh, yeah, he does.
That man knows everything about every single one of his opponents. So when it comes time to really give them the chirp and get under their skin, Tony DeAngelo is the perfect candidate.
He's got, oh my God, you could just whip out all the ammunition in the world and just
too
give
easy.
it to him. He's an easy target. He's just such an easy
So
target.
Brad Marchand
He
really,
put it on himself.
Brad went for the low-hanging fruit, but it's only game 4, probably of 6 or 7 game series. Definitely of a 6 or 7 game series. So he might as well go for the low-hanging fruit now and really hit hard. And it obviously got to DeAngelo because he threw a hissy fit at the end of the game, made a fool out of himself. Which is definitely not what you need when you lose 5-2 in a playoff game that you basically had to win.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was everything you wanted that game to be, everything you needed that third period to be. Obviously, the first period, you didn't play well enough. Second period, you definitely didn't play well enough. You had 6 power plays. You got scored on in the first 15 seconds. You put one in the second period, but it's definitely not how you wanted to play. If you played like you did in the first and second period, you're toast.
No, we were not winning this game.
You're toast. If you
not winning this game.
If you let them kill another 5-on-3 penalty, especially a 4-minute, after they high stick your captain,
you're toast.
You're toast. So I love the way they responded. They came out. They capitalized. They played great. They played for each other. They played tough. I really have nothing bad to say about anyone and how they played in the third period. It was just out-coached by Cassidy, which you don't really get to say much.
No, you don't.
Against a guy like Brendan Moore, who I hate. He's a clown. He complains about calls. He whines. He does the Berube move. He just complains about calls and doesn't really blame his team for losing games that they should have. But it was great to see, everything that they needed to hit on that third period, whether it was goaltending, defense, clearing the puck, penalty kills, transitional offense. They really did. They did it perfectly, and you just really need them to kind of build on that and not lose steam going into Game 5, because if they play like that, especially with that third period, not so much the first and second, they are unbeatable.
Yeah, I mean,
no matter who they play.
Yeah, if I'm Coach Cassidy, right, I'm telling the boys, Game 1 and Game 2 doesn't even matter anymore. That is in the past now.
Yeah.
We played like shit. Like, it almost feels like we were watching 2 different series.
Yeah,
where
without question,
Carolina looked like the far superior team, and the Bruins look down and out now. After Game 4, the Bruins look like the far superior team, and Carolina is all out of whack. They have no idea what to do now, and we have a veteran team that we have been in this situation before. Carolina's got some young guys, and they haven't really had that much playoff success except for that run to the conference final in 2019. We got them right by the balls. Like, we really do.
Without question.
We got them right where we want them. We took it to them in Game 3 and 4, and now you go to Carolina and you put everything in the rearview mirror. It's a 3-game series now. This is now a 3-game series. This is a best of 3. Mm-hmm. And how are you going to respond to those? Not even to those first 2 games. How do you bring that momentum that we had here and bring it down to Carolina for Game 5?
Mm-hmm. Basically, the way I see it is in that first 2 games, you were just purely bullied by Carolina, not only in their barn, but they just dominated you in every single facet of play. And in Game 3 and 4, you punched the bully straight in the throat. And you told them that, hey, you're not fucking with us.
We're not backing down to you.
Yeah, we will not be intimidated. We're the Boston Bruins, and obviously we played great hockey, and they just had to find it, and that's exactly what they did. They were tired of being thrown around and treated like they were just a push-off.
Yeah.
Just a throwaway team that they had to walk through in the first round to get to the second round and play the Rangers or Penguins.
That's what it looked like.
They're like, hey, Carolina, we're not here to fuck around.
After Game 2, we looked like a pushover. We just looked like, we're just one step in their cup run.
Right. I think,
and now we're like, no,
the way that I see it is
this is our fucking cup run.
Going into Game 3, you have a lot of old guys on that team, guys who don't have a lot of key years left. Guys like Nick Foligno.
I get literally Nick Foligno.
Brad Marchand is in the latter stages of his career.
Bergie.
Bergeron,
We don't
to
even
retire after this season. You played for him, and coming out of this weekend, we received some good news. It is rumored from family of the team, inside sources, that Patrice Bergeron will be back next year.
Oh my God! Thank God.
Getting on the train here, I got some good news for you. I learned some good news this weekend. It seems that rumbles from the team talked to some fathers on the team this weekend of players on the team. Won't name any names. But it's rumored that Patrice Bergeron, after being rumored that he was leaving, is coming back for one more go-around. Nothing's official, obviously.
No,
That's word on the street. We're going to have to wait to see what happens.
But the way he played this year, it felt like this can't be the end.
Right.
That's how I felt. Like, Bergie, you can't go out on a season like this. You still look like Patrice Bergeron. If he fell off a cliff during the second half of the year, then it'd be like, okay, he's nearing the end of time. Like, he had a good run, but like, no, he's still giving you that offensive output. He's gonna win the fucking Selke this year.
Right.
He's gonna win the fucking Selke trophy.
Was he 37?
Yeah.
As a 37-year-old who's been in this league since 2006, he's gonna win the best defensive forward, and
he'll make history.
He's one of the point leaders in the playoffs so far.
He'll make history. That'll be his. I think he was tied with. Who's the guy? He's tied with somebody for 4. He will now take. When he wins the Selke, he will be the leader to win it the most times, which I believe
Just
it's
rename
5.
the trophy.
They should rename the trophy. It should be the fucking Patrice Bergeron trophy. Are you kidding me?
So, I mean, after
that is great.
After everything's
news.
there you go. I just want to give you that. Just drop that piece of news. But obviously,
great
we'll have to
news.
wait to see this summer what his move is. But that's word from people around the team and said he's sticking around. He told the team recently that's maybe that was what changed momentum is after game 2. He's like, hey, I'm coming back.
Hey,
so
I'm not going down.
I'm not going through this shit again.
Nope.
All right. One last go around.
I'm not fucking leaving.
I'm not fucking leaving. So, and that was great news. And obviously, that's just basically to put a bow on those 2 games. That's exactly what you want to see from that team. You just needed to see some heart. You need to see some gumption. We're not going to go down easy. We're going to fight. And that's what they did. They won these close games. These games that you needed to win if you wanted to extend your series. And now they're getting the respect that they deserved. Everyone coming into the series, I would say like 75% of people had them winning this series. But after the first 2 games, they're like, shit, looks like I was wrong. They're getting swept.
Yep.
And they were like, no, you could be right. Obviously, it's 3 games left in the series, best of 3. No McAvoy. He's potentially ruled out for Game 5. Hampus Lindholm is yet to be cleared, but that'll be up for discussion. Obviously, they haven't traveled to Carolina yet. They practiced today. Injury report is clear besides Charlie McAvoy. Still in COVID protocol, so you have to see what happens there. But you just got to build off those 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
You can't let that effort go to waste. You know exactly the game that you need to play now, and you just got to replicate that. So that's what it'll all be about. Game 5 will easily be the most stressful game of the year.
Yep.
And you got to step up in an arena and in an environment that you just haven't so far. So you got to.
But you have in the past. They have really in past year, like in 2019,
had some big demoralizing games.
We have really put the dagger in their throat in their building before, and I can honestly say that I can really see them doing it again tomorrow night.
So that'll be key. I mean, that'll be very interesting. But we're about hour 15. Just talking about the Bruins
that was
already.
Fucking awesome.
Talking about one series. Imagine if we talked about anyone else. We'll definitely talk about those other series once the first round is over with, or even before that. If we get all the Game 7s that we're projected to, all the series are basically tied except for Nashville. So we'll have to see how many we get there. But if we get to a point where you're at 5 Game 7s, and an emergency pod will definitely be necessary. That's definitely something we'll do. So with that said, do you have any closing remarks? Anything you'd like to say before we move on to the NBA?
Go Bees.
Go Bees. All right, so now we're going to get into the Eastern Conference semifinals. Milwaukee Bucks versus Boston Celtics. Our Boston Celtics. Like I said, this is only going to be basically Boston Celtics and Boston Bruins talk today, so we'll talk about the other series in depth later on in the week, obviously, once it gets down to later in the series, once you get some elimination games. But we are going to Game 4 tonight, Boston Celtics versus Milwaukee Bucks in Milwaukee. 7 o'clock start time. Bucks up 2-1 after a big lead in Game 3. But I think we should go through and just break down this game one game at a time like we do with the Bruins, because each game has really been different and had their own vibe and their own feel. And Game 1 was certainly probably the most unique performance we're going to see from either team, as the Bucks take it 101-89, with Giannis dropping 24, Drew Holiday dropping 25, Tatum dropping 21. Definitely a low-scoring game, and definitely not what you wanted to see from the Celtics. Coming out, it was a day game, May 1st. You definitely needed this one. The energy was in the building for sure. Everyone was behind the team. It's just guys really couldn't convert, and the defense of the Bucks definitely seemed to be the difference in this one.
Yeah, they definitely looked stifled early. It was just a weird game. Drew Holiday shot 8 of 20. Giannis was 9 for 25 and 6 of 11 at the free throw line. Like, you couldn't really base the series like off of this game and like see where it was gonna go from there. Like, you had Tatum shoot 6 for 18. Jaylen Brown was 4 of 13. Marcus Smart 3 of 11. The Bucks defense was just in their size in the paint. I think was really good in game one. Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, like they really like when they would get through the defense, it was Brook Lopez, Bobby Portis, and Giannis just waiting for you down there, just waiting to swat the shit out of you.
Brook Lopez was the absolute driving force in this game. Every single time the Celtics would get to the basket, which is something they're very good at. Brook Lopez would basically just stand there with his hands up and deflect anything coming his way. So definitely that's where the Bucks took this one, was just based off their interior defense and their ability to take those three guys and just shut down anything going on inside, because guys like Robert Williams, Jason Tatum, and Jaylen Brown are all very, very, very skilled at getting to the basket.
Yeah.
And Milwaukee knew that, and they kind of just shut that down. If they forced guys like Al Horford and guys like Jaylen Brown, who didn't have the best shooting game, to forced to take shots in the perimeter, that's how they knew that they were going to dominate. And obviously the Celtics had a lot of trouble guarding them on the interior. So it was definitely just a tale of two different teams and the way they prepared. And that's really why they took it. It was just, lackluster defense from the Celtics on the interior and shutdown defense on the interior for the Bucks. So it's two different stories, but that was definitely the difference.
Just a weird game. I mean, the Bucks shot 41% from the floor, 71% from the free throw line, and 35% from three. And the Celtics shoot 75% from the free throw line, but they shoot 33% from the floor and 36% from three. Like, you cannot have that.
You absolutely can't. But the way they responded was huge. Obviously, you can't have guys like Drew Holiday dropping 25 and Giannis Antetokounmpo dropping 24, but they definitely limited that. I don't know if there's anything else you really want to talk about with Game 1. It was just pure utter domination from the Bucks.
Yeah, it was just it was a very weird game in a sense. Like, you can't really base the series off of, and you can't really judge the Bucks and the Celtics off of that game just because of the poor shooting, I think.
Yeah, you obviously know Giannis is going to drop upwards of 25, but when it comes down to guys like Drew Holiday and guys like Pat Connaughton, those guys you need to limit if you're going to beat the Bucks.
Yeah,
and they just didn't. So in Game 2, it was basically the same thing but flip-flopped. Bucks went with the same kind of game plan where they shut down the interior, but the Celtics were like, okay, screw you guys. Like, we're actually going to make our jump shots this time. And that's really what proved to be the difference for them. It was a 109-86 final. The Celtics capitalized. It was a great game for them. It was everything you needed. They had the crowd. They had the skill. The guys were making shots. Jason Tatum was automatic. And yeah, they just really touched on every base that they did in Game 1. So that was really the difference. They outscored Milwaukee 33-19 in the second, 32-21 in the first. And it was just pure dominance. You knew that they were going to come out with a fire. They lost, and they hated every second of it. So they came out and they made the adjustments that they needed to, and that really proved to be the difference. You had guys like Jason Tatum. He dropped 29 points on 29 points on 10 for 22 shooting with 5 for 10 from 3. It was just automatic. You just had a game that you knew Jason Tatum had to. So, and then you had Jaylen Brown dropping 30. So you basically had guys both dropping 30. If you have two guys in your lineup both combining for 60 points, that's how you know you're going to win games. And especially with the defensive prowess that the Celtics had, it was a perfect combination of what they needed to do in this game.
Yeah, Grant Williams was absolutely awesome in Game 2. 21 points, 50% from the floor, 6 of 9 from 3, and just gave Giannis fits just all night.
It was something that not a lot of guys do.
Yeah, it was
Grant Williams accomplished.
Really, it was so impressive. I mean, Giannis is really emerging as the greatest player on the planet.
Oh, for sure.
He's really emerged as the best player in the NBA, and I mean, Grant Williams just constantly just fighting him and doing stuff that they were doing to Kevin Durant in round 1. And obviously Tatum shot the ball well. Jaylen Brown really came out hot, and I think he had 17 in the first half. And definitely one of the big differences, Peyton Pritchard was kind of trigger happy in Game 1, shot 2 of 8, really slowed it down, made a lot of good plays, and yeah, it was definitely the response you were looking for from the Celtics. They played good defense, holding them to 86 points. Even the Bucks, they shot pretty well. I mean, 46% isn't great, but it was better. But 16% from three, that's not going to win you many games. They played good defense. They were good on the offensive end. And now you got a 1-1 series going back to Milwaukee.
Yeah, and you all you needed to see in this Game 3 was that, the Celtics were going to continue the game that they played in Game 2. You just need to see them play more team basketball, everyone involved in the offense as well as the defense, making sure that guys like Giannis were having fits. And I guess it's hard to explain really what Game 3 was.
Yeah.
Because you liked the game that the Celtics played at times, but in the third quarter came around and they got outscored 34-17, and they found themselves in a 14-point hole after basically being up most of the game.
Yeah. And then the fourth quarter, they dig themselves out of the goddamn hole.
Yeah.
And, I mean, Jason Tatum just didn't have it, plain and simple. But Jaylen Brown stepped up. He had 27, got to the free throw a lot, made 10 of 11. Derek White had a really good game, 14 points off the bench. And then you look on the other side, obviously, I mean, Giannis has friggin' 42 and 12 with 8 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks, just like... That's Giannis Antetokounmpo right there in a nutshell. That is what he can do. That's why he is the best player on the planet right now. And then you get down late in the game. And I will let you take it from here. I will let you take the reins from here and just kind of explain.
I mean, I guess, yeah, you kind of just dig yourself out of that hole. You outscore them by 9 in the fourth quarter. And you dig yourself out of that 14-point deficit that you put yourself in the third, and you play fantastic basketball. Some of the best you played the whole entire series. And you were plain and simple the better team. Mm-hmm. That's all it really was. So, I mean, in terms of, getting mad at this game or being disappointed that you didn't win, or that you didn't get the calls, which we'll talk about in a second, you're playing better. So that's really why I'm not worried about tonight. But if we're talking about the one call that everyone's really talking about, it's Marcus Smart.
Yep.
It's Marcus Smart's, no call in the shooting foul. He went up for the 3-point shot, down 3. Was fouled by, I think, Drew Holiday.
Yep.
And they didn't call it. They called it a foul, but it wasn't a shooting foul, which gave him 2 free throws instead of 3. Would have tied the game, and that's kind of what the talking point was. It was the definition of a shooting foul. Everyone around the league was saying it. He was up for the shot before the foul occurred, and then he got fouled. And I guess they saw it a different way. But it is what it is. It's the NBA, and the games are kind of decided on these free throws and these foul calls, and the referees kind of stick their hand into it. But it's the third game of a 7-game series, so I think if you look at it, you really wanted to go into Milwaukee and split. So I guess the game is in your hands now. It's all about Game 4. It's all about tonight. Obviously, you were the better team in Game 3, and you would have liked to eventually pull it out, but you just didn't. It's just dwelling on those no calls is a waste of time, especially in the playoffs when there's only 7 games for you to beat a team. So when you perform that well, and you kind of show that character and that heart in that fourth quarter, and you still don't pull it out, it's okay because you got it in you, and you have a job to do for Game 4 on Monday, and they just got to execute. But, yeah, I think a lot of people are more mad about it than I am, but the way I see it is that, you played well, you built on some good habits in the fourth quarter, and you just got to extend those habits. The same thing with the Bruins in Game 2. You lost the game, but you played your best game in the last 10 minutes. So you just got to extend that, and you get the calls eventually, and this time it just fell to the Bucks. But I have no pressure that the Celtics will get it done tonight. So.
Yeah, the referees in basketball they suck. It's one of my biggest pet peeves in all professional sports is when referees decide the game and they intervene and they think they're the fucking show and everybody's there to watch them, and it's just no. You officiate the game, you call it both ways. Obviously, you're gonna screw up calls, right? But just some of the foul calls and some of the, in general, it ruins the basketball game for me, honestly. And one more thing, I want to touch on that final play, that Marcus Smart free throw. I mean, what a decisive job he did getting up there. Nice and slow, right? Looks like his regular free throw team. Everybody knows in the building what he's going to do. He's going to have to chuck it, and they're going to have to get a one-touch quick in here. But the way he delivered it and made it look like his regular free throw routine, and then he just chucks it up, And then there should have been a foul call when he goes up and gets the ball and gets a chance. He gets fouled, but no call. And then Al Horford gets a whack at it, doesn't go in. Rob Williams gets a whack at it, doesn't go in. And I mean, you lose the game on a heartbreaking play like that, but you have to respect the like you said, the last 10 minutes of that fourth quarter really plugging away after a shit third quarter.
Absolutely. So it's showing that heart and that character. And if it comes down to a couple missed free throws and a couple missed foul calls, then I'll take that, especially this early in the lead. This early in the series, rather. It's already if you lose like that. You showed good heart. Your bench had an off night. Grant Williams shoots a combined 3 for 15. You never want to see that, especially after he drops 21. But, he's not a superstar. That's not what he does. He's a depth player who can give you key scoring, but he just had an off night. So you just got to hope that, that doesn't happen in Game 4. And you got to carry over those good habits that you built, but you definitely have to play better and not rely on the refs to give you calls. Mm-hmm. So,
absolutely.
Do you have any closing remarks on this?
I just wanted to find out if Chris Middleton was in tonight or not.
No, he's out for the series, I thought.
Oh, he's out for. Oh, I don't know. I figured that he at some point he would just surprisingly come back like Rob Williams. I'm not gonna lie, but if he's out, that's another win for us. I mean, but you got to come out and you got to play, solid basketball. You have to get bodies on and heavily defend Giannis Antetokounmpo. And listen, I will take my lumps. I want, like in the Brooklyn series, I want the guys like Bruce Brown and Patty Mills. I want them taking the shots. Like, I want Pat Connaughton taking the shots. I want Grayson Allen taking the shots. I don't want Giannis to control the game. I'll take Drew Holiday shooting the ball every time.
All right.
I would take that any day. He's a great defender, but he's not gonna absolutely blow you out offensively.
Definitely not. I mean, he's had good numbers, obviously.
He has been playing well. I will give him that.
25 and I believe 25 and 25 both games. So he's averaging 25 a game on you. Definitely not what you want for a third key guy. That's what he can bring. You just got to find a way to shut him down. But I don't want to overreact. It's only 3 games in the series. Mm-hmm. Game 4 is tonight at 7 o'clock. They're definitely got to show up. I'm very confident in the Celtics that they can make the adjustments that they need to. And it'll come down to execution. So anything else you'd like to touch on about that?
No, I'm good.
All right. So with that said, a quick little episode to kind of touch on both the current state of both Boston teams, both the Celtics and the Bruins. They're both 3 and 4 games in this playoff, and we'll touch on the rest of the series once they close out, or maybe if both series go to game 7, which is a complete possibility.
It is a complete possibility.
But overall, episode 28, great episode.
Derek Forbert.
Derek Forbert episode. So with that said, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. If you're watching on YouTube, Taylor Hall is Boston Bruins.
And Derek Forbert just blocked a shot as I speak.
Sure.